Um, listen, sometimes I want to shoot my gun and not have to just get out of the bomb site and just yell out, "I have missiles! I have missiles in 20 seconds. Just live!" Like if this is the meta for the entire year, I definitely think there will be some problems where, listen, guys, maybe we have to have some talks about all the utility in the game.
Hey guys, this is Pedro back with another interview, this time covering VCT Americas Stage 1 2025 for week 1. My guest at this time is the person who was just waving right then and there before I actually introduced him. Derrek of Evo Genius is coming off of their victory over 2Game Esports at the start of said competition. So Derrek, gotta give my thanks to you for another interview, this time in a new year. But before I want to ask you just sort of the new year itself, this match, 2 game. I mean, all things considered, many people kind of looked at this as a easy win for you guys, but obviously you had some issues there on certain points of that match. But nevertheless, coming out with a victory, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. I can't complain about a win. Obviously it could have been a lot cleaner. I think it definitely wasn't an easy. We didn't make it easy for ourselves. If we won the rounds that we were supposed to, it definitely could have been a lot easier. But listen, when any tier one team is playing comps like they did, it's definitely going to be scrappy. You're not used. I was definitely not used to ISO Yoru and just the comps they were running. So it caught us off guard a little bit. But I mean, a win's a win.
Yeah, I had a chance to talk to Nature, and he kind of called it like a funny comp. And I guess you were feeling the same way, just sort of had to like deal with the surprise factor that 2 games showed to you guys, and having to like overcome that. And like, were you kind of like also like very perplexed and just having to face that, and then try to fend off whatever they were throwing at you?
I wasn't really perplexed because I mean we have scrim teams that have ran comps like that, but it was just obviously like first game jitters. Our comms were kind of cluttered because it's just there's a lot of stuff happening, like like your TPs, ISOs volning you. There's just a lot of stuff we weren't, because I mean we've been playing in a breach tail meta, so we're used to stun missiles here. Okay, we can go up, but you got to be ready for the Euro flashes, the ISO shield, the ulting, and it's just a different. It was just different. But I'm happy to say that we definitely dialed back in on Lotus. We had a strong defense, which is very good for us, and then obviously kind of gave up a few rounds on the defense, which was very well in our control. But we just, like I said, it was a scrappy game.
And it was a scrappy match in which you guys came out on the winning end, and like what I want to ask you about that, just sort of like how that kind of ties into the current meta and how you guys have been kind of moving around amidst the meta. Because like I remember like there was a few interviews that I believe Potter did with another member of the media, and they asked her about like with the presence of like double duelists and also like the prevalence of Teao, what would be the identity of EG? And she kind of mentioned about instead of opting for those that a lot of the teams that are instead of opting for the direction in which the teams are having to move to that direction in order to be very competitive, she opted for the strengths that you guys already had within you guys that were already building up in the past heading into 2025. And so what I want to ask you, Derrek, is how has the team been kind of navigating throughout this meta, just having to stay with their strengths while also trying to fend off or also maybe adapt with the types of things that a lot of other teams have been adopting simultaneously.
Yeah. Well, comp wise, I just feel like if you have the duelist and you have the players able to play double duelist, I think it's a very strong counter to the breach tail. Um, can I say that is our identity to do run double duelist? We've definitely tried it. I think we can play it, but I definitely think our identity as a team is just a little bit more passive, a little more like methodical, and just slowing the rounds down. So breach tail and just like double controller and just double initiator comps kind of favor us a little bit more, in my opinion. Um, I'm not going to say that we're not playing double duelist or we are playing double duelist, but it's definitely a possibility, and have tried it before.
I know you've played the Tejo today and also like one time back in kickoff. And so I want to ask you just sort of how have you been kind of like looking at your adaptation or more so your increased use of the agent because as I said, there's been a bigger prevalence of that agent in this year specifically because it's still brand new. And so how have you viewed your comfortability, your transition into the agent, your usage of the agent?
Yeah, I think Teao is it's a little bit more of a passive role. You're definitely way more supporty than you would be on like say a Fade or a Gecko. I'm definitely iPad out and like just ready to drop missiles on post plans. I'm just basically kind of in the back lines like a breach would be. And I'm used to that. I do enjoy that play style. Obviously, sometimes you have to get in there. Like the stun allows you to be aggressive when you need to be aggressive. Um, but I think I'm adapting pretty well to the tail. I I, I like setups where it's like it's kind of honestly it's kind of like Fade where you just jiggle a line, you're stun out, and then your teammate plays off you. Just things like that. I think and all initiator players will definitely cater to tail. Just it's I feel like it's a very easy agent to get used to.
There's been plenty of people that have expressed their liking and also expressed their unliking, their approval or disapproval of the meta. I want to ask you just sort of simple question: do you like the meta? Do you feel like it's one that like is very enjoyable to play in, or is it not really for you?
I love Riot games; they can do no wrong. But but this reminds me of the double Molly meta, Viper, Brim, or just all the mollies. Um, Listen, sometimes I want to shoot my gun and not have to just get out of the bomb site and just yell out, "I have missiles! I have missiles in 20 seconds. Just live." Uh, I think I think it's okay for now, but I can't see this being like okay a year from now. Like if this is the meta for the entire year, I definitely think there will be some problems where listen guys, maybe we have to have some talks about all the utility in the game that just you cannot play post properly.
Yeah, like that's also like a reason why people don't like it as much. It sort of becomes very impossible. It feels like to play post plant because that's kind of like the point of the kind of meta that we're in. From my point of view, you know, you stick the plant early on, and then you fucking have to go through all of the util from the other team, and also all the util from your team to then do the post plant thing. Do you kind of is it kind of like that for you also?
Yeah, it's very Tail Breach is very exec heavy. It's very like you play strong on one side of the map and pray to God that it's either they come to you on the strong side or you're just playing retake on the opposite side. Um, which I mean, they're like I said, the double Molly metal is kind of the same thing where it's either you pray that they come to your strong side, you fight them, maybe it's a 2v2, 3v3 at the end of it, or you're heavy flanking so they can't play post. It's definitely a meta that we've played through before if you've been in the scene long enough. Um, I think Teo just kind of elevates that because once, even if he doesn't have to use his missiles on the exec, he's gonna have them up. They're rechargeable, so even if he does use them, he's gonna have them in post. Sometimes he has ult, and yeah, it's like if you don't get on that bomb quick, you are definitely losing the round. So
Is it such that the team, not talking to like about the rest of the team, do you feel like it's such that the team still has to work around, still has to like struggle much more than other teams in order to just try to figure out how that stuff works and how to like overcome such difficulties?
I mean, I think any team in the franchise league should be able to realize that, like, listen, guys, we're in a cringe post plant meta, and it's either you get off site when you're getting full exec, because if you stay on the site, you're going to get stunned, missiled, stunned again, blasted, flashed. So get off the site, and then it's either you flood fast, or like I said, you flank for the post. And I think any team at this level should just know that. So
Of course, and hopefully, this kind of solving of the meta can happen to you guys much sooner than rather than later, of course. And and it's also one that kind of reminds me of just sort of in looking at EG right now and back then, just sort of having to peak at the right peak at the wrong time because you guys were able to beat the likes of Sentinels and other pretty notable teams in 2024, but it was such in which due to other results that you guys suffered early on in the year that kind of led to you guys not making playoffs. And so, what I want to ask you about that is sort of what do you feel the team worked on the most in order to at least be at a better position this year compared to last year?
I mean, obviously, starting out with a win kind of helps with that process of just getting the ball rolling early. We have two new players. I think after getting knocked out of kickoff, we took a lot of time to really develop our identity as a team. As you can see, like GA's insane on the lurks, like he used to be. He's insane at just holding down a site and just being that guy to like you are able to float onto him because he can live for a while. Um, and I think that's definitely a strength that we use. And I think just starting off the season with the win is definitely going to help us. I think getting the first match jitters out and setting us up for the quote unquote harder games is very helpful.
Yeah, and it's such in which hopefully the team can continue to carry over into the next set of weeks for stage one, whether it is Sentinels, Hundred Thieves, or whoever else. All you guys can bring the fight as you guys did in two game, much better version, of course. I gotta add that in. So
Yep.
Derrek, I'm gonna have to wrap up the interview right here. I'm getting those pings to wrap up. So I'm gonna have to do exactly that. So thank you so much for giving us the insight as to your point of view of the meta and all that other good stuff that we talked about in this conversation. And of course, gotta give you the best of luck for later on down the road.
Thank you, Pedro.